creating your own reality. What a marvelous notion. There's a lot of weird advice out there about that particular topic, so I thought I'd give my 2 cents on it. What does that actually mean when that's suggested? To create one's own reality. If one is presented with a math problem, and they're to come up with the answer to it, if 2 + 2 = 4, no matter how one slices it, it might be unusual to come up with 5. What I'm getting at is, a lot of the way that the create one's own reality thing is posited suggests adopting a form of dissociation. Can one manifest things that way? Oh, sure. But they're going to be missing the bigger picture. I understand the impetus to want to avoid reality. There's quite a bit of bad programming out there about what reality actually is. It gets a lot of bad PR, the term real and reality. But in my experience, this kind of negative PR is like a toxic overlay, an interface with something a lot more phenomenal. I prefer cultivating one's own reality. But of course, it's not just an individual thing. That's a very solipsistic view. As I like to say to people, like it or not, we are a social species, and with that carries many implications and responsibilities. Like it or not, for self and other. In doing the work, for example, can one just create their own reality over top of developmental traumas and carry on as if all is well? I mean, they can, but at what cost? I think it would be a lot more better if one were to endeavor to understand their own reality first before attempting to create it anew. Because there just might be some underlying blueprints within that reality that are yearning to be uncovered and cultivated and permitted to grow. Like they say in Fern Gully, help it grow. I suppose in that sense it could be stated as creating one's reality, but the term creating can be very misleading because it almost suggests to pave over what's already there without even understanding the foundations. What if the foundations could use some work? Now, one can keep creating all they want, but will likely find themselves spinning their gears, spinning their wheels, and putting a lot of energy towards this whole creating a reality thing because it can become very avoidant, and it needn't be that way. And the alternative is a lot more productive in my experience. You get access to a lot more things, inside and out. There's magic in that. Through that cultivation can come any number of phenomenal things one might not have had access to prior. But there's going to be some growing pains too. It's part of the program, package deal. However, these growing pains don't need to be long-term. There's a difference, a fine line between a growing pain and a problem. There's a lot of bad advice out there which will suggest, it gets worse before it gets better. Oh yeah? What if it's just getting worse because that's the wrong way? And the fact that it's getting worse is an indication that something's wrong. It's important to become and to cultivate what I like to call one's inner detective. That takes intuition. That takes experience, perception, and ability and willingness to perceive things accurately. Not over the top, but not underselling it either. Accurate. That's what it takes for problem solving. There's a lot of problems within any number of realities out there. And there can very much be worlds within worlds, worlds that operate very differently. Might not even intersect, might not even know what we're looking at if we cross paths. So it flies past the radar of what we're tuned into. Now, in that kind of problem solving and detective work and psychic environment cleanup, because environment is important too. We're like plants in many ways. Take a great plant, put it in bad soil, and wonder why the weird plant isn't producing well. Well, might be in the wrong environment. It takes two to tango in that regard. The nervous system is much like a plant in this way. And it tells us things for a reason. It's good to become more in tune with that. The awareness. That's big. It's major. And cultivating one's own reality. That permits an integration into a much larger system and begins to actualize our underlying psychobiology and psychospirituality in wonderful ways. Ways that are more fulfilling. Ways that no amount of creating one's reality over top of any of these things, or at the expense of these things, there's no comparison. And it ain't gonna last either. That's not how things are built. It's more like hacking the system, in my experience. And not knowing any better. And we don't know any better until we do. But then once we do, it's like, well, what are you gonna do? See for yourself. Thanks for tuning in.